Hey, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Oh yeah, but the pre-rendered cutscenes, crispy.
Okay.
I can
Oh,
see the
yeah.
pixels.
All the pre-rendered cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do with that. They could put it through an AI upscaler, I guess, but it might not do. Oh, Big just called cream a hoe. Fuck Big.
Do not do that.
Oh, oh.
I smell scrambled eggs for some reason.
The loading is so quick. Oh, they got rid of Omo Chow. Oh, there's a mod that got rid of Omo Chow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What, from the C game?
The tutorial, yeah. I can now go through the tutorial.
Oh, okay, I see how that's done. Oh, I see. You changed this ramp.
Which one?
The one next to the digging section, like the 2D digging section.
Oh yeah, I made it a bit more shallower.
It's science and technology. Yeah, they don't have an Unreal section anymore. They used to have an Unreal streaming category, but not anymore.
I will join the stream properly in just a minute.
Once you're done playing as the best character of all time.
Yeah, I need to get through playing as the big boy himself in Snock Heroes. If my antivirus was not being an asshole, this would be perfect. But it's just like such a hassle to try and get the bloody thing working.
How are you doing today? Suppica? I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Now I would love to actually do like a playthrough of Heroes like this now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, goody.
Goody. We did it. We did it.
Did it.
All right.
I love invincibility music in Sonic games. Alright. That was like painless. Oh, and Big has his stripes. Because obviously it's the HD model.
Oh, he actually has his stripes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Like, as weirdly ironic as it is, there's actually like a lot of detail to Big's design.
Oh yeah, visual design.
Visual design.
Personality.
He's a dumb shit.
Backstory. His backstory's got the depth of an evaporating puddle. I freaking love DigiValentine.
Too bad he's not like continuing some videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I love his shit.
He's got, yeah, he does really good stuff. It's just a shame, obviously, he's
got a lot of personal
kind of
stuff
just
going
not
on.
in a mood to do it.
Yeah, which is understandable.
Yeah, he doesn't have to force himself to do stuff for us, as the viewers.
Big the Cat versus Infinite. True.
Well, we obviously know who would win.
Yeah, obviously Big.
Small the cat.
Infinite might be infinite, but is he more than the bigness of Big?
He's not bigger than the mass of Big.
Yeah. Checkmate,
Hello.
atheists.
Big has got the mass of a black hole. He just devours all of your love.
Alright, it's been
finish Seaside here. I'll hop on.
5 minutes, 5-minute mark. So we can get started. Oh, hello, Eggman.
Hello, Eggy boy.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot. We've not actually shown off the fact that we have a bunch of Planet Wisp assets.
Just ignore that feet part.
Yep.
It's nothing. Nothing at all.
Yep, we totally don't have a whole bunch of Planet Wisp assets.
Yeah, not at all.
Nope. Boing. But yeah, the map has been altered just to make things flow a little bit better. Give it a little bit more of an actual gameplay feel than a debug room feel.
Yeah. Added some more slopey bits everywhere. That was like one of the first things I did. Mainly just to test if my computer was still running Unreal right. And it's not.
And
it's still annoying.
Which we can actually grind to the first topic. The other reason was because we needed to check the repo.
Yes. We have now upgraded the project files. We are now finally on 2.20. No, what was
yeah,
I saying? 2.
We're on 4.26.
2.26. We've went back to Unreal Engine 2, guys.
Yep.
I think we're doing pretty good with Unreal Engine 2.
Yep. We've updated the project files to 4.26. During the release of Colorful Combat, there was a lot of people trying to update the project files from 4.24, which was a version we released from up to 4.26, and there was a metric buttload of issues with it. Actually, no, that's not true. There wasn't like a buttload of issues. There was a very small select amount of issues, but those issues caused like large problems, namely Knuckles. Knuckles
had problem.
Knuckles alone caused a whole lot of issues with updating the project to 4.26. And it was because of his skeletal mesh. There's something about the asset that caused a crash in 4.26, so we had to completely replace it.
Switch? There we are.
I second making Unreal level, so I
just watch your screen. Just thought about that. There we go.
I've just played the stage countless times, so that's fine. This debug stage wasn't really made to be fun or anything. It was just mostly meant to be functional, to test stuff. Was the main purpose of this map. How's your day going? It's going alright. I'm tired, but I can talk about that later. How are you doing today, Fabio? Hope you're having a great day. But yeah, not only did we have issues with 4.26, and we had to like help a lot of people get that straightened out, and then we had to straighten it out ourselves and release a patched version of the project files so that people don't have those issues anymore. We also ran into repo issues. Like, our repo ran out of space. And
that man is on a mission.
He is.
Yes, the repo died.
Yeah.
But then it got better.
Slowly approaching Eggman. Oh lord, you coming.
You're approaching me.
Oh, you're approaching me. So we had basically one of two options, actually one of three options. We either get an entirely new repo, we pay for more space, which I did not want to do. I didn't want to pay for more repo space. Or we try and clear our old repo history. And we tried doing that third option. We tried clearing the old repo history, and we ended up not being able to do it because apparently simply clearing repo history is not simple. Like it's not a simple task to do for some unholy reason. So instead of doing that, what we did instead was we set up a brand new repo. So as far as I am concerned, the old repo is still accessible. And as the first point of talking for this dev stream, depending on how the old repo ends up holding up, because there's a chance we might have done something to make the old files inaccessible, but maybe not. Maybe it's still functional. But eventually what we might end up doing is we might open up the old repo to the public. That way people can have access to the Infinity Plus development history.
Depends if it's still working or not. The problem is we don't know. It's completely effed. So
that might happen if it's still accessible and we get around to looking into it. What we might end up doing is we might
Emmanuel was there for like a minute and then just left. I think he might have accidentally joined the call. Yep, oops, wrong button.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not a guarantee. We're not saying we are absolutely opening up the old project files to the public or anything. I personally don't see any reason why we couldn't do that. We might end up doing it eventually. But if we did end up doing it, it probably won't be done until we're closer to the 1.0 version of the release.
Yes.
Once we get I plus 1.0 done, we will that's around the time when we would open up the repo. And if we do end up opening up the old repo, we would probably also open up the new repo as well, the one that we just set up for this. So there's a good chance that we might just open it up to the public and let people do as they please. It really depends on how we end up setting up repo management and stuff, or how that stuff is meant to be set up. But that is the reason why, one of the reasons why it's taken us so long to get back into work. Working on the project. It's because we had to set up
being an ace.
Yeah, we had to set up an entirely new repo, and it was not the most fun of things, but you know, it could have been worse. Yeah, that's the main and the first point of discussion. The second point of discussion is the fact that we've not done a whole lot with the project as of yet. As you can see, Reese has messed around with the map, and he mentioned earlier the main reason he did that was, one, to test to see if his new computer could
still run Unreal.
Still on Unreal, because he was having computer problems.
Still having problems with it, and I swear it's my RAM.
Yeah. The dedicated wham.
Yes. The dedicated wham ain't working. I want to wham the wham.
Random Flying Eggman is back. Yep, he's still there.
Oh yeah, he was always there.
I want to move him somewhere that isn't there, though.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go somewhere else. I just shoved him there because I had nowhere else to put him. Poor Eggy.
The main thing, that obviously we were also testing the repo, making sure that things could be pushed. That's another reason why you did it. In this version that we're working on, we already have already implemented the fixes to 4.26 that we had to go through and discover. Always have been. Eggman's always been flying around.
Been Sonic.
Outside of that, in terms of like actual development, there's not been a whole lot in terms of new functionality, and there probably won't be for a little bit.
I think this is the first time people are seeing the new lighting.
Yeah.
Publicly that I worked on.
Did you not do that right before the donut?
No, it was right. It was after the fix. No, like go down to the spawn and then look up towards the donut. It's like the best. Yeah, look at that. Look at that haze. There we are. Yes. New version of lighting that I was working on. It's only in the demo room at the moment, in the debug room, but it's just It's something I was working on a while back to try and see if I could improve lighting skills compared to previous versions. Go take a look at the characters as well in this lighting.
Ah, yes.
Against the wall.
Oh, this is another thing we're going to be doing here soon. It's probably, I think it's like Reese's first thing on the list he's going to get done. Is a lot of these characters' meshes are going to be replaced. Not all of them, just a lot of them. Especially Sonic.
Yeah.
The one on the left here is Sonic's model that we're currently using, and the one on the right is the one we're going to be using.
Yep.
What?
And on it. Oh, I'll let you say it. I'll let you say it.
Emmanuel asked, "What did you do to lighting?" I don't.
Did I do the lighting? I completely changed all of the lighting. Like after we released the last
Colorful Combat
patch. Yeah, like the patch for the Colorful Combat. I showed you screenshots, dude.
We can talk
You
about that
don't
later.
remember? But yeah, carry on.
Gens? I don't think this is the gens. This is just a modified version of the same model that you mess with, right?
Oh, it is the Generations model, I believe.
Oh, it is.
I've modified it though to have extra textures, so we've got like the blinking shoes. And both mouths now.
Yeah, we have both mouth models for Sonic, which we have for Knuckles as well.
Yeah.
And Shadow.
All of the... that Shadow model is the old one, I think, still.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it is. No, I think it's the new one. Yeah, it's the new one. I remember adding it in, actually.
This textures needs upscaling.
That's just how they look.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you look at Shadows and then...
Back to Robotic Arm Project. And then we got Rouge. I think Amy's the same, isn't it?
Amy's the same. What? With the new model?
Yeah. Like, you didn't grab a new Amy model, did you?
I think all of the models have, like, for all these guys... No, actually, for the Chaotix and Team Rose besides Amy, they've still got the old ones.
Oh.
Silver and Blaze don't have new models yet either. No, I can't remember. I messed with textures with Blaze. That's what I did.
Yeah, we've messed with Blaze's
with
textures, but that was before Colorful Combat released.
Actually, no, that was after.
No, I thought it was before. Because we changed her colors.
Shiny shoes. Oh, we changed the colors, but the materials I've messed with. So, as you can see, Blaze's shoes aren't like super shiny anymore. So yeah, you are right. We did mess around with the textures before the Colorful Combat release.
Silver is still pale and sickly.
Yes. It'll all be fixed in due time with model upgrades. Big is just glowing, by the way. Like big is positively glowing.
Although this is the models that you altered.
Yeah, it's an edited model. It's always been an edited model.
So
it still needs a bit more editing.
Gen's animations. Technically, you can use both Generations and Unleashed animations. They basically have the same skeletal mesh.
We're just going to be retargeting the animations that are already in the engine.
Yeah, all the animations that we already have are just going to be retargeted, and all the skeletons are basically the same, so it shouldn't have any issues.
Yeah.
Theoretically, it shouldn't.
Mainly, the Sonic skeleton has just been cleaned up a lot.
It's funny
the extra bones. Yeah, his tail is that big; it just pops out the back.
Another thing, all of these meshes are to scale to the character's actual height.
Yep.
Like, we went through height charts, we looked through all of the height information about the characters, and compensating for Unreal's units of measurements. All of these characters are their canon height now.
Yes, as canon as we could find, because not all sources had correct heights and stuff, but it's just generally what we see. Because one of the big squares,
like our old Sonic model, is actually way too tall.
Yeah, one of the big squares in the back is 100 centimeters.
Yeah, it's a 10 by 10 box, and each box is...
Each small square is 10 centimeters.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, each big square is 100 centimeters.
And Sonic is roughly 100 centimeters tall, but as you can see, our model is 120, so...
Yeah, he was a little bit too tall.
All of these models are now to scale to their canonical height.
Big is exactly 2 Sonics tall.
Yeah, he is.
Because he is 200 centimeters.
Big the Cat is... I think he's... No, he's not the tallest. Gamma is actually the tallest character.
Yeah,
in Sonic.
Gamma is huge. And it's funny how small Omega is.
Yeah, Omega is fucking tiny.
Every time you think of Omega, I think of him as like this big, huge battle robot thing, but no, he's actually really small.
Yeah, like Omega is shorter than the both of us.
He's like 140 centimeters.
Dude, Shadow model is the Forces one? I don't think this is the Forces model, is it?
I think it is.
No,
I think I got the Forces one.
Oh yeah, I guess you did. You got like the Forces model for every character but Sonic, didn't you?
Every character besides Sonic and obviously Blaze and anybody who wasn't in Forces, such as Big and Cream.
Yeah, Big.
All
Cream.
of the models are Forces models because of the PBR materials and textures.
Yeah, except
just
Sonic,
work a little better. Yeah,
Sonic.
but obviously I wanted to use Generation Sonic / Unleashed Sonic
because
Forces
Sonic looks gross.
Yeah, we need long spines, not the bloody short spines.
Forces Sonic is slightly shorter for some reason. He also has shorter spines, and his blues are all off, and I hate that model with a burning passion.
So we got the good old Gens model. I just keeps getting drawn to Big. He's just so lit up. He's so lit.
I just keep going to Big because I'm like, ooh, Big. He's a big boy. What's funny is because all of these models are to scale now, you could actually set Amy and Cream on Big's shoulders and they would actually fit properly.
Like, it actually looks normal. That makes sense.
Because in Sonic Heroes, they kind of shrunk Big down a little bit from his canonical height. He's smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever Big and Amy sit on his shoulders, it looks a little strange because they're pretty large in comparison to his size. But with this canonical size, you can like stick them on his shoulders and it works fine.
Yeah. So you could theoretically do a if you get the animation set up correctly, you could recreate that Heroes mechanic.
What I would probably do is I would probably set up, if you wanted to do something like that for Big, I would set up perch points on Big's shoulders.
Yeah, that's
and
what you
then
have to do.
Command the friendly AI to move to them and play an animation while on his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what I would do if I had to set up the whole animation situation for that.
Trying to like make, obviously Emmanuel's done this, but trying to like, I've always been like fascinated in trying to figure out how you do like make actors interact with each other and stuff like that, like, you know, whether they attach to each other or play animations with each other, like synced up and stuff. It's been something I've always wanted to fully look into at some point.
He's sure to be in line with Lost World, supposed to undo Modern's linkiness, but it looks weird. Yeah, it like Forces in Lost World tried making Sonic more classified, like classicified, if that makes sense.
Classified.
He's like more classicified, and
his style has been more classic.
I hate it because it doesn't look like, not because I hate the classic design or anything. I love classic Sonic, and I do love that classic design, but what they tried doing in Forces and Lost World was this unholy amalgamation. And I'm like, stop. It looks like he wants to die. Put him out of his misery.
Modern Sonic's gotta look like modern Sonic. And classic Sonic's gotta look like classic Sonic. And I've seen pictures and models of when people have swapped the two.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty.
You don't want another San Diego occurrence.
You know the difference.
What happens in the classic stays in the classic, pretty much. I didn't like that, and it's all okay.
Here comes that song's stuck in my head now.
Here comes the sun. There is some, I've noticed some minor frame rate issues, but I think it's because you added a fuck ton of geometry in here.
It is weird. I'm gonna look into it. Also, I do need to do the whole thing of re-importing a bunch of these meshes to fix the like slight warning problem. But you are correct. The FPS has been lowered slightly in here.
Yeah, like if I'm not looking at anything, I get 60-ish. Whenever I look at all this stuff, it drops to like 40. So I think a lot of this stuff.
I think as well it has to do with a bunch of the AI just being present in that frame now. So kind of bunch all of the the AI together.
Yeah, that could also be part of it.
So like, I would imagine that wouldn't be helping. Because adding geometry itself shouldn't be that much of a big deal for the engine.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not a big problem for us anyway. We're still far away from a release.
Yep.
We can worry about it later.
How's it going, Shirley?
Later.
Alright, so another thing that I have been working on.
That you have been working on.
What has been updated? Well, I can recap things here in a little bit. I went ahead and begun organizing code, is what I've been doing. I've been organizing and commenting code. I've not done that in a lot of the actors yet. I've only been able to get a couple of actors done, notably the dash ramps, the dash rings, the springs, the dash panels, and the spring bowls. Like, the code is commented and segmented and cleaned up to look a little bit nicer. And these blueprints, that's the instruction script. As well as any code that we're not using, I've also been getting rid of. Code that we're not using that we just purely don't need. You probably notice in like all 4 of these, there's like a red box that is old code. Like this here is how things used to function before I changed it to use an interface, because all of the objects interact with the master character via an interface now, rather than casting. But if you want to go back to that system, you still technically could, and I've left all of this code here for reference. That's what SFR is. If anything is labeled as SFR, it means saved for reference. But all of this is technically no longer in use, but if people wanted to use it, they could. Just know that we're probably not going to take the time and comment old reference code that we're no longer using. Like, if you want to use old code that we're no longer using, that we have saved for reference, don't expect it to be commented and documented too well, because we're not using it anymore. Another thing is I've been in these actors here, and I'm going to obviously keep doing it for other actors. The variables on the left have been reorganized to show up in a more streamlined order in the details panel in the editor. Too much code to explain. Well, yeah, like all of this code is too much to explain. That's why it's being broken up into segments and commented in boxes. So essentially how it functions is everything inside of a, like, the box explains what all of the code inside of said box does. So this is the initial object interaction, meaning whenever you initially interact with the object, you overlap with it. This code is what runs, and you can see the sequence and what happens inside of this box that the code takes. Afterward, you see another box here. It says grabs actor's gravity, in which it calls this, it calls the interface event. Afterwards, you can see that there's another thing here that says launch actor interaction, meaning this is the code that actually launches the actor that overlaps with the spring or ramp or whatever. And then down here, there's a commented box that says launch visuals, meaning all of the code in this box are involved in the visuals, such as the particle effects or any animations that the actor might like place. So for a spring, it'll like play a little bounce animation of the actual spring and stuff. So that's how this commenting is going to function for the most part. It's not going to be like super in-depth. Blackout Voids, thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? None of these comment boxes, unless we find something that we feel does actually need to be explained a little bit more, in which case we will segment it further and break it up into further chunks to help explain the process of whatever it is that chunk of code is doing. For the most part, it's all going to be broken up into smaller chunks like so that explain what that chunk of code does and how it relates to the functionality of the actor, if that makes sense. So launch visuals, it like plays an animation, plays a sound, checks something to play a different sound, spawns an emitter or a particle or whatever, stuff like that. So that's how the basic commenting of the actual blueprinted code is going to function. And we're going to try and mimic this everywhere that we possibly can. We may not get to every single little thing, but we're going to try.
Master character blueprint.
Say what?
Master character blueprint.
That is going to be the last thing I touch. Like the master character blueprint and all of the individual characters, that is going to be the last thing that I document, because that is going to take a long time.
Also, it might change.
Yeah.
Here and the end anyway.
We're probably not going to
switch out.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do a whole bunch of commenting on things that we're planning on altering and changing anyway. Another thing that we've been doing alongside the variables is adding description to variables that might need it. So, feed fish.
That's what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's another thing I've been doing. I've been doing all of this. You can add little tooltips, like it says right here, extra information about this variable shown when cursor is over it. So if you move your cursor over to the variable list, over a variable on the list here, you can see that it actually displays what's in the tooltip. It also does it in the editor. So we see spring power, the little window that pops up, that is, actually, hold on.
We do.
Sorry.
Did I just hear scream? What's going on?
I had to hide Fizz for a second.
Oh, that's what it was. Rip Fizz again.
Yep, Fizz is dead now. As you can see, like the little tooltip pops up there. It says like launch spring or launch strength of spring when spring launch type is not set as pre-calculated. So I've been reorganizing, relabeling a couple of the variables, as well as adding Fizz out of Fortnite. Yeah, and basically making it so that a lot of these objects feel more accessible out of the box, like how they function. It's a little bit more clear what each individual variable does and how it interacts with the asset. The asset. Actor. Yep. There's also, in some instances, things like this. This here is actually an event. I added like a long description, or not an event, it's a function that you can call. So for example here, boop, you play it, but
never knew you could do that until
call a function in editor.
Like in the details panel, yeah. So cool, so useful.
Yeah. I added a long tooltip that explained what this does, as well as what variables relate to it. So things like debug draw time, launch destination, and input delay. So debug draw time, input delay, and launch destination. But also inside of each of those variables, except for debug draw time, it adds additional explanation. So like adds input delay will also reset a player's physics if is pre-calculated is true. So if the is pre-calculated variable right here is set to true, not only does the input delay a player's input, but it also resets the player's physics after it's been launched, after they've been launched. But only if the is pre-calculated is set to true. If you set it to false, then all it's going to do is simply just launch the character and delay the person's input. There's also things like, will remove Wisp or the launch destination. And then basically anything that is more aesthetic related, I kind of just put at the bottom here. So this is a trick ramp. Turn it off, it turns into a regular ramp. Same thing with here. Rainbow ring, regular ring, or play animation, don't play an animation. I need to move this around for springs, but things like the standard spring and the spring type needs to be moved down. So standard spring, wide spring, air spring, that needs to be moved down. But that's probably where they'll be located. Everything aesthetic will be put lower on the list. Everything functional will be put higher on the list. That way it's a little bit more organized. And that's the system we're going to be using for everything we do. Or at least everything that we adjust and change. All of the actors or all of the objects. So whenever we get around to, you know, doing these spikes or these flamethrowers or the goal ring or the buttons. I think I already did the button or the switches, you know? Yeah, I already did the switches. I also already did the character gate. So things like we'll block all characters regardless of type if true. Or we'll allow character type variable to pass through if true. We'll prevent that same type and variable from passing through if false. And then the character type the gate will allow or disallow through. So this will help a lot with out-of-the-box use of the framework. People who are unfamiliar with how the code is structured or slightly unfamiliar with how Unreal works, or they might be they don't want to read through the lists of documentation that we're going to be creating, you know, because that's one thing we're going to be doing, and something we need is we need to recruit someone on the team for the sole purpose of documentation. And what?
Something just minor, like I'm just going through the visual and stuff that I've done before. Technically there is a new loop asset now.
Yeah. The shuttle loop.
Yes, you can kind of show off. If you guys have noticed, something slightly different with this loop.
It doesn't have a ramp on either side.
It doesn't have a ramp on one side anymore. So now this is a much more easier to work with
shuttle loop.
Pure just shuttle loop. So you can do what I've done over here and line them up.
Yep, this is
they mesh together.
This is 3 different shuttle loops put together.
Yep.
And it functions a lot nicer because you don't have to account for that weird like curve in the old shuttle loop. We still have the old one.
Yeah, the old one's still in the files.
Don't think that we got rid of the old one. You can still use the old shuttle loop, but this is an updated
this is
version.
now just a much more easier to work with loop, and it still has the 2 material slots, so you can customize it. Because obviously you can see this one's a Seaside Hill style one, the other one was another level that we definitely don't have assets for styled. Yeah.
So if you wanted something weird like this, you could. I don't know why you would want that, but you can.
What do you mean? It looks great.
Although where's the... I know. There we go, see?
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got that. I'm just going through like stuff that I've posted before to see if I can jog my memory on. Have you shown off the laser sights that the enemies have? Because the visuals of it were slightly upgraded from a manual.
I think that's something that we slipped into Colorful Combat before the release, but
I'm looking at the things, and I don't think it was.
So yeah, Emmanuel added a neat little laser sight to... Wow, your animation did not like that.
His animation's still a bit funky.
I think that's a 4.26 issue.
Yeah, it's just doing a little kickback every time he shoots.
There's also something...
against the wall.
So what?
Yeah, there's something following them, I can see it. They go up against the wall so you can show, like, the pointer.
Yeah.
It's kind of... Oh my god, the decals aren't rotating properly either.
Nope. I think that's a thing about the projectile, but we're going to be reworking the projectiles anyway.
But yeah, like, when you look at the not projectile, the dot, it literally looks like a laser pointer. Like, if you have a cat or anything, the ones you play with your cat with. It's got a little dot at the end. Looks really good. Emmanuel did a good job. and the color's customizable because that
Oof.
oh my,
Yeah, something about that didn't work.
that guy is not having a good time.
No, he is not.
Like the rapid fire version has a blue laser sight, so it's apparently customizable. I haven't looked into it properly, but the manual is more
That was cool.
about that. But yeah, it is. It looks really nice. Scrolling up, scrolling on up. I don't see.
The IK is broken in the new version. Yeah.
No, I don't see anything else here at least, because I'm back to the.
I don't want you.
Oh yeah, I made those animations for the Egg Flapper. I think those were included with the Colourful Combat update. But they just go unused. I didn't get around to any Flapper properly yet. Is that a phone?
What was what?
I heard something.
What you might have heard is the fucking gun beetle trying to beat my shit in and failing.
Definitely wasn't that, but it doesn't matter.
Well, my phone didn't go off, so.
I just had like a do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Oh, it might have been Shadow's phone. But I didn't hear it. Oh.
Nah, it doesn't matter anyway.
It's Kevin.
I don't know where I put it. Or did I put it in the modeling animations? No, I did not, because that is like way back with the bombs. I was trying to see if I could find pictures of the new assets we are planning on adding. The new gimmicks.
Like the rapid fire one? Yeah, I do too. That was something Hess included, like, a long time ago. And we kind of just haven't messed with it. This version doesn't function as well as the original does, because this is using the new enemy blueprint, and it's got to use new firing code. So it's not quite as good as the original, but we're going to try and get it functioning a little bit better.
I need to get the assets imported into projects so they're there and waiting.
Yes.
To be honest. But
oh, you've actually completely closed this up. There's nothing in here anymore.
Yeah, that's why Eggman's outside now.
Eggman.
The only reason that block was still there is because it had like the wall running section on the side. I kind of just left it for that.
But you need to test wall running and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah. So we have plans to add a few more of the missing general level gimmicks.
Yeah, that's something we're planning on doing.
We've got the swing pole on the list, which is it's in the Max and Adams build, but it's the pole where you swing on it, as the name would imply, and then it has that that progress bar thing where you've got to jump at the right time, then you gain the extra height, and if you don't, you just kind of flop off.
I think that's something we might end up. I want to double check with Max and Adam first, because I remember the last time I talked to them, they were like, "Oh yeah, you can take the code and implement it to I+ if you want." But I want to double check with him because I don't want to just lift his code. But it's something he's already done, and if we can adapt it,
allows us.
Yeah.
Then that would be an easy port in.
Same thing with the pulley, because he also included the pulley as well as a rocket.
The pulley is on the list because obviously we're missing pulleys.
The rocket's incomplete though. I don't know if we'll even do the rocket. We may not mess with it. But...
I have the assets for the rocket.
Yeah.
Are you just on about like the code? Because he did have the rocket, didn't he? But
it's not finished though. Like it was an incomplete version of the rocket.
Yeah, well, we have the assets. We could just dump the assets for people if they want it. Because why not? Are we going to do the jump selector?
The jump selector?
Normally it's in 2D in the modern games, and you press A to go up or X to go forward.
The QTE thing.
It kind of like you've only got so much time.
It's a QTE.
It's literally called the jump selector.
I don't know. I don't think we'll be doing that. We will be including a QTE system though, I think. So if you wanted to include it, like if you wanted to use that QTE system for a jump selector, you could. because it'd essentially be the same thing. It's just its timing would be different.
Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, which I'm looking forward to, is the cannon.
Yeah, we're going to be including the Sonic Heroes canon, and we're going to include a couple of different preset functions with it.
Yeah, we're going to have it like auto fire and in manual fire mode.
Yeah, so similar to Generations. We're going to have an auto fire where you can, similarly to the springs, you can set up a pre-selected arc and just have it launch the player.
Yep.
But we're also thinking of doing a Sonic Heroes type system where, like, if you jumped into a cannon as a power character, you could actually aim the cannon and fire it, and that's something we're probably going to do. Although I don't know if we're going to make the strength editable. We'll make the strength editable in editor, but I don't know if we'll make it editable, like changeable in game. Like, you know.
I have an idea on how to do that, but of course it comes down to when we actually code it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, essentially, what I'm imagining is for like that kind of mode, if we do like an advanced kind of version of it, you more take control of a point in a distance that you move around. And then the cannon will auto-update like how the trajectory's got to go to reach that point.
We could do that too.
Yeah, but like I said, that's if we even bother doing that. We might just make it where you can literally just turn it around, essentially, just like in Heroes, or we might go a little extra mile. Just depends what we do. But I think the cannon's going to be kind of fun, to be honest.
The only thing that matters is wee.
Yes, that's the only thing that matters.
Wee. I don't.
So there's any other level gimmicky things we're missing?
There's Wisp items. We're gonna be including more Wisp objects. So what?
Yeah, we've got a few more Wisp objects that we need to do. We're redesigning a few Wisps, and
a few.
There's the zip line.
Oh right, a few. You're right. We're not okay. We're not gonna redesign Ghost. We're gonna lift Ghost's functionality from Colors Ultimate.
Yeah, I know that's what we're going to do. Like, we were going to slightly change the controls of Crimson Eagle, and we were redesigning Cube pretty much completely.
Yeah, Blue Cube. We're going to keep the old Blue Cube, and we're also going to keep the old Jade Ghost. Like how Blue Cube function now and how Jade Ghost function now, we're going to keep. We're going to try and fix up Blue Cube a little bit better. But we're going to also completely redesign them, and we're going to include like both the old versions and the redesigned versions. That way, if people prefer the old Cube or the old Jade Ghost, they can continue to use it. But if they prefer the new Jade Ghost or the new Cube, they can use the new versions instead. So that's a lot of potential. Well, thank you.
Like I just said a minute ago, we got the zip line as well that we need to add.
Yeah, there's a zip line. I forgot about that.
And I think that is the only level mechanics that we are missing.
No, I don't think the zipline should be too difficult, but
it's essentially just like a grind reel, but like set up differently.
Yeah, like you set up.
It plays like a different animation.
You set up a home attack point, but rather than like it moving you at a speed that you can manipulate. Although we could have a version where you can change the speed, like make it move faster if you boost or something.
That'd be cool.
But it would essentially just move you along a spline at a set speed, and then launch you after you get off.
This is just kind of an idea, but it's just a fun extra idea. Again, it's like another extra thing. But it would be fun if like you're on the zip line. And you can do what you can do in the Sonic Heroes special stages and swing left and right while you're on the zip line, and obviously you can boost as well. Like that would be kind of fun, but it's obviously that's like a completely new and extra thing.
There's also less obvious level objects we can try given time, like those horizontal springs and horizontal poles from the advanced games.
The horizontal springs and poles? Well, the poles are there. They're in the engine already.
Yeah, we have spring poles already. But I think he's change how they function. Like, it just like whenever you overlap it, it automatically flings you up instead of it being dependent on where you land on it.
Yeah, I think I know which ones he's on about. It's
Oh,
like the
the
ones where you can grab them from underneath.
yeah. Oh, the horizontal springs. We just kind of gotta have to change how our current springs function.
I'm confused on what one the horizontal spring is.
It like the thing about a vertical spring is it launches you up in the air, but the thing about a horizontal spring is it doesn't technically launch you in the air. You never leave the ground, but it does redirect you and launch you. That's what
Can't our springs do that when you put them horizontal?
it will still. I think it'll still technically launch you in the air if you do that. I've never really actually tested that out. We could try that.
I have the spring on the quick step section.
Yeah, let's see here. If I hit this, yeah, it still technically launches me in the air. Like you can see Sonic do a landing animation because technically he left the ground. I think what we would have to do is, if it's a horizontal spring, tell it to not override your horizontal, or not. It doesn't override your Z.
Yeah, vertical. Oh no, the horizontal's stuck in the ground in the speed you will. I know which ones you're on about.
Maybe we can do that. I'm not sure.
I
feel like that's something.
Like the Mushroom Hill, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the thing from like Mushroom Hill.
Yeah, that'd be neat, but
I don't know if we'll do that though.
Yeah, probably might not because it's very niche. It's cool though, and in 3D it might not work as well because obviously you'd have to be very precise with where you hit. I mean, you do as well.
I mean, ideally, what it would do is it would just launch you in the vector that you entered it from. Like you would hit it, it would spin you around for like a half a second, and then launch you at a set speed.
Yeah.
Or it could launch you at your speed plus some. That way, it's like a way to gain quick speed.
Another thing we are going to be doing, trying to get done with this update. This is also like an manual thing to help with, but we have the enemy stun system to try and upgrade so then Silver can pick up stunned enemies. Because that is obviously a thing that's missing with Silver. I mean, Silver in general is still kind of incomplete, but we are going to try and see if we can get this stun system working for him.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we're going to try and get done in this update. I don't think it's quite as much as the Colorful Combat update. It's not going to
take as long. It is definitely not going to take as long as Colorful Combat.
Yeah, it might take us longer than previous updates before Colorful Combat, but it's not going to take us the length of Colorful Combat. Yeah, Colorful Combat took us... Yeah, Colorful Combat took us an entire year to get done. And even then, it's not quite complete. There's still some things we need to change, but that's how it is with all of the updates, is not all of the things that we released in each update was complete. We're just going to be returning back to them and changing them, but...
Yes. And then we've gotten, like, feedback from everybody on the stuff that's kind of, like, broken or just wasn't very intuitive or good. Yeah. And gotten the feedback and fixed things, like we fixed the spawn problem. We mentioned it on the Discord, but obviously everybody's Discord. But there's a problem with people's having spawning in characters because you have to type in a specific tag onto player spawns for them to work. And I mean, I don't know why I didn't do it in the start the way that it is now, but essentially now, if it can't find that tag, it'll just find the first player spawn. It'll just try and find the first player spawn and then spawn you there.
Yeah, that's...
The tag is mainly for multiplayer. It's like required for multiplayer or AI followers.
Yeah. It's also used for the special stage rings. Like if you want to leave a level and come back at a specific point, that's another reason why you would use it. So for example,
it's got to remember the tag.
This one right here, like if you jump into this stage and then you leave, but then you come back to this level after the special stage, you're going to want to spawn here, not back at the beginning of the level or at a checkpoint, you know. So
yeah. So since releasing the Colorful Combat update, obviously we have been getting feedback and we are working on improving the issues that people have been having.
Yeah, just some quality of life things involving development more than anything else. Like actual editor functionality.
Yep.
I can work on the Silver's on the dinner plate. Whenever Silver's up next to eat.
Yep. When Silver's up. We haven't fully done a roadmap yet of this update. We've got the big ideas that we've just gave you all there with the stuff we are going to be adding and improving and / working on. But we are not 100% sure in which order we're going to be doing this yet. We are going to have to think about it.
I know I'm going to work on documentation for a little bit. I'm not going to do nothing but documentation for like the next month. A huge chunk of what I'm going to be doing for the next month is documentation, just not all of it, because one, doing absolutely nothing but documentation would drive me insane, and two, there's other things that can be done, and even though I want to get a good chunk of documentation done, I don't want to do a whole bunch of documentation on things that we're just going to change eventually and like alter.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There's only so much documentation I can do, especially whenever we're not finished with certain things, you know. So
yeah. So like your main thing right now, it's going to be kind of a slow burn back into full like working on new things, really, to be honest. So like you could expect next dev stream we're not going to have a lot again to show. Like we don't have much to show this time because again we've been doing reposts, just trying to get things set back up.
Yeah.
And I will probably say like next dev stream it'll probably be more of the same. There'll be like some small things we can show off, but nothing like big, like like we've just added the cannon, guys, look at this, all of this new stuff. And that it's going to be another like just kind of here's like some of the things we're getting prepared now for continuing on, because like I just said, Fizz is mainly going to probably be focusing on getting this code cleaned up a little bit and doing the documentation at the same time, and then sprinkling in a little bits of other types of work here and there. My main thing is I'm going to be going through all of the models and fixing small errors that a lot of the models have had from importing in Blender, because I didn't realize there was an option I needed to turn on, which I figured out now, so I'm going to go and basically have to re-import everything again. That's going to be fun. And fix up the small problem. And along with that, I have the character models that I need to swap out and retarget all the animations and make sure all of them are working as flawlessly as they were before, like pretty much identical to how it looked before.
And then right after you do the models, you know what's after that?
Profit.
You got to do the HUD.
Why did you remind me of that? Yes, that is another big thing I need to work on, is HUD.
So, like, the two major projects that you're going to be working on are updating models for both objects and characters, and then after that, reworking the HUD, because the HUD is... It's not that it isn't nice. It, like, in terms of visuals, the HUD is completely fine.
It functions, it's just really annoying to work with if you want to change stuff or if you want to figure out how things work. Yeah. Currently,
the HUD needs to be overhauled under the hood.
Yes, because also we are going to try and make it so the HUD will change its style when you change the menu theme style, because that was always in the it was always going to be a thing, but it's just the way the HUD was set up originally. It's just making it slightly difficult to just make an easy pop and swap kind of system.
Yep.
So I need to go and restructure everything essentially.
Yep. And then probably what I'm going to end up doing, I can start working on this after you redo all the models. Until then, I'm gonna work on obviously reorganization and documentation and cleaning things up. In the meantime, I'm also going to work on some object interaction stuff. I'm going to try and get a hold of Max and Adam, see if they're all right with us lifting some of their work. If not, then I'm just going to start from scratch. I don't necessarily mind doing that, because the problem with using other people's work is we have to then adjust it and rework chunks of it anyway to work with our system. So everything, like if Max and Adams gives us the permission to use his swing goal and their pulley and maybe their rocket, like if they give us permission to do that, I'm gonna have to bring it in and then completely change huge chunks of it to work with our system.
Interact with our stuff.
Yeah, so it can interact with the characters and stuff properly using the interface that we have. So it might get to the point where, depending on how it is, I'm gonna have to do some research on it. Either I'm gonna ask if we can use their work, or I might just start over on it and like just do it from scratch ourselves. I might just do it from scratch is what we might end up doing, depending on how it's set up and how much of a pain it will be to rework it. But that's another thing I'm going to be doing. And depending on the route that I end up going after doing the research will dictate what I'll have to show off for the next update. Because either one, by the next update I'll have an answer on what I'll be doing, or two, by the next update I might actually have something prototyped and functional. But we'll have to see. But after that, and partway through it, depending on how quickly I progress through all that stuff, there's a certain... don't forget about the C++ stuff. Yeah, that's true. I think... I'm going to probably relegate a lot of that stuff to you, because you know a lot more about that than I do. That and... I think that's probably going to be a little bit later on, I feel. Like, it's because a lot of that stuff is going to be done in the master character. But, we'll have to see. But after you get the models and the meshes updated, there's a certain wolf that has been neglected for, like, 3 updates in a row. That, we should have been getting to.
Oh, yeah!
You know, the...
Freaking, you know, Lupe, the wolf in the Archie comics.
Yeah.
Totally. I got it raring to go. Let's go, let's do it.
Yep, there's no other wolf character that we're planning on working on at all.
Not at all. Not a one that we've shown off several times before and confirmed before. Nope.
But,
Nada.
yep. We announced that we were going to be adding Whisper to Infinity Plus back like at around the time that we were working on the Forge update. And then Wolf would be fun to work on. After that,
guys,
we just proceeded to not add her for like forever.
Look.
So
yeah, she would have been in the last update, but it's the cape.
it was the cape.
It was literally the cape. The
It
cape
was-
was the only thing.
Also the wisps and the combat that just took up so much time.
Yeah, well, the wisps and the combat took up so much time, but like having
new
a
enemies.
functional, like visually functional whisper was almost there. It was just the cape. If the cape worked, and I am pretty sure we might have actually had like some form of a whisper present for Colourful Combat.
Mhm.
But nope, now I've got to hand rig the entire cape and animate it with all of the animations. It's gonna be so much fun.
No capes.
No capes.
So yeah,
Yeah.
once Whisper's model and stuff is in, I'm gonna do a deep dive and try and get her functional and set up and ready.
I have a video for a manual that I've just sent him.
No capes.
No capes. But
Oh
yeah,
my God.
there's... yes. It is that video. No. You know you like it, Emmanuel. But yeah, we've got like it's technically not going to be as big of an update as Colourful Combat,
Yeah,
but it's still going to be like quite a chunky update, to be honest.
it's gonna be a bigger update than 3 and Knuckles, but not as big as Colorful Combat. Because Colorful Combat had a massive rehaul. Like, we heavily changed a lot of stuff about base Infinity Plus, and like we altered a bunch of systems, we included a bunch of new systems, on top of all of the actual things we added.
It was a huge rewrite, essentially.
Yeah.
Colorful Combat was just an essential, like, huge rewrite, whereas the updates before were just additions.
Yeah.
And this update is going to be just additions as well. But there's quite a few additions, to be honest, when you plan it down, like put it down on paper. We have got quite a few things that we need to add to finish up the engine.
Yep.
Or the framework, I should say. And then Bish Bash Bosh 1.0 update coming out.
Hopefully it'll do the 1.0. Like, hopefully we don't have to split this update. I wouldn't be necessarily against splitting this update, but I don't really want to. Hopefully we can just...
If it was split anyway, it would be, like, pretty much just 2 small updates.
Yeah, is like, what it would be.
The only reason we would probably split the update is for, like, select assets. Yeah, like, select assets that need more function time, but there'll be, like, other stuff, like, maybe, you know... hypothetically, it might be like fixed silver, the improved models and everything is like part 1.
Some other like some editor changes, like updates and fixes to editing and actual developmental tools and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then like the second half would be pretty much everything that we mentioned that wasn't added.
Yeah,
hypothetically. So it's like I don't think there's a high possibility of us splitting the update, but it's not ruled out either.
I guess
this comes down to what happens throughout this year.
Yeah, because I'm finally back to work. But I think, and hopefully, I'm going to be getting a promotion here soon to management rather than floor staff. And while I don't think that means I'm going to be working more days, if anything, I might work slightly, like 1 or 2 fewer days a week. But the days that I do work is going to have more hours, I think. So hopefully that doesn't end up happening. So my schedule isn't going to like get more busy, but my availability is going to shift around a little bit more than likely. If that ends up happening, I hope it does, but there's technically no guarantee. I know in 3 weeks from today, I'm going to be getting, because today, what I was doing today is I was getting my first vaccine shot. In 3 weeks, I'm going to be at the second vaccine shot, and hopefully it won't put me out of commission. I generally have had a very a good record with shots not knocking me out, like medicines and shots and vaccines and stuff. I remember one time before I moved to Washington, back when I lived in Tennessee, I had gotten sick at one point, and I got a checkup at the doctor. The doctor's like, it's nothing too serious, but if you don't like rest up, it could end up being like contagious and stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you an adrenaline shot to like supercharge your body so you can heal. And everyone was telling me like, if you get an adrenaline shot, you're gonna get like super energized, but you're not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to sit down and let your body run through the energy, that way it can heal, is what is supposed to happen, but that ended up happening. Like I got the adrenaline shot, and I'm basically like, well, nothing feels different. So I hope that the second vaccine shot doesn't knock me out, but it might, and in which case I'll probably have to take a couple of days to do that. But other than that, my availability isn't going to change too much. I am trying to stream a little bit more frequently. And I'm actually going to stream later today, once we're done here. I'm going to continue Metroid Prime 3. But other than that, I am trying to make sure I split up my time between development and streaming. So
yeah,
it's just the time balance. I have to like balance my time between like 4 things. I have to save time for working on the project, save time for work, obviously, save time for streaming, and then there's also time for like keeping the apartment clean and stuff like that, you know. So, and then there's just also just general rest time. So I'm trying to balance my time a little bit better now.
Yeah. Send a picture of the cannon. It's in Blender.
Say what?
sent a picture of the cannon in the work showcase.
Oh yeah, that's the Generations model, right?
Yeah, it's the Generations, because of course we'd use the Generations version of the model.
Yeah.
Better detail. But I was trying to see if I could find the pulleys and stuff, but I don't have them. I'm saved as a separate Blender file. It's all FBXs still.
Yep.
But it comes with its animation, so it also has an animation. So
That's
Canon
true.
is looking good.
So other than that, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I guess to do a quick go over, we set up a new repo. The old repo may or may not be made public depending on how things go. We have been working on organizing the blueprint code as well as the variable list. We've also been commenting and adding descriptions to the code and the variables to make them more accessible to developers and make it easier to understand what they do. We've also been... we changed this map around a little bit. There's the new shuttle loop asset. The enemies have a neat little aiming reticle thing that has been added to it. Oh, there's one tiny little thing that I changed, or actually I added. I kind of like it. And
Tiny little insignificant thing.
That can be expanded upon in the future. Element immunity is a new variable that I have included. It's a map that is a very simple and quick check that you can perform on characters whenever they like get hit by something or they overlap with something. For element immunity, essentially it's a neat map variable that will check to see if... Essentially what it is let's see here, class defaults, element immunity. There's a list of each available element. I think you can have duplicates, but you can't have any of the default variable. Currently we only have 3. We have electric, flame, and frost. How it works is you simply just tick the boolean next to the map key to dictate if a character is immune to that element or not. As you can see with Blaze, Blaze is set to be immune to flame damage. So what you can do is you can, for example, in these flamethrowers, check the immunity type. So because these flamethrowers can spit out a flame, electric, or ice, you could actually check a character's immunity against it, which is actually pretty neat. So you check the type, you see if this has that type, which it will. Like that's what this branch checks. This branch checks to see if this variable has a key akin to what is inside of this enum, which it does. It will always have the same unless you decide to add more to it, in which case you'll have to make sure you go in and include it into this list. And then it checks to see if that boolean paired with the key is true or false. And if it is true, that means it can't do any damage, but if it is false, that means you can do damage. That's why if they are immune, you wanted to set it to true. So let's say, for example, Team Metal. If you wanted to make Metal Sonic immune to electric damage, you can do that. So you can go element damage, electric, tick that to on. And let's open up the instance. So let's check with Blaze first. As you can see, Blaze is going to cause some issues because she has compiling errors with her animation blueprint.
And materials.
Yeah, and her materials are also hacked at the moment. You can jump into the fire and cause no issues at all because she is immune to it, but she can still take damage from the electric. And if I changed it to Metal Sonic, who, if you remember over here, I changed him to be immune to electric. I can jump right through the electric area and not take any damage, but I can still take damage from fire. So that's a neat little thing I changed, or included. It's not like a big deal or anything, I thought it was kind of cool. So that's another thing we did. There was also, I already mentioned Emmanuel's little line of sight thing added. It was pretty cool. We talked about how we're going to be changing all of the meshes with these new updated meshes. Although, are we going to change? This is Big's Rio model, right?
Yes. The mesh still needs a few topology fixes on it. You can see like on the belt as well.
Yeah.
Like it's got the triangles going into the circles.
Mm-hmm. Blaze is the only path we can take toward Nirvana. So, yep. I don't think there's really much of anything else we discussed. We kind of also just discussed things that we're planning on changing in the future. Things like we're gonna be altering Blue Cube, we're gonna be altering Jade Ghost, as well as adjusting and changing Crimson Eagle. We're going to be including more Wisp objects for Wisps to interact with, as well as new objects in general for our characters to interact with, such as the zip line, the pulley, the swing pole, and the cannon.
Pulley, zip line, cannon.
I don't think there's QTEs are going to be included.
QTE.
QuickTime events, we're going to include a QuickTime event system. The HUD's going to be reworked, which needs to be done before we do the QuickTime event.
Boy.
I don't want to try and set up.
Do.
Because essentially the thing about a QuickTime event is you have to treat a QuickTime event as if the character is paused. Like, you technically don't have control of the character, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well,
control's taken away and the inputs go to a
HUD.
Yeah, technically go to a HUD sort of thing.
Mm.
But yeah.
Although you could still technically do it as a character. Like,
well, technically it is done with a character, it's just like it's redirected somewhere else.
Yeah.
Instead of going to the normal stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is gonna have to probably be altered.
It's pretty much kind of it for the info we have to give.
Yep, and that's basically all we went over for the stream in general.
Again, this stream was more just to like tell everyone that we're slowly getting back into it now and just laying down
the
law and ideas. Oh yeah, the law of big council.
Lay down the law.
Lay down the big council's decisions. But like, essentially it's just that. We were just showing what we've got planned and yeah, just talking about what we've been doing for the past couple of weeks since the update.
Yep.
Next stream is maybe going to be similar to this one. Just more of the same of us just slowly getting into fixing things and just getting stuff ready for when we add all of the new fun stuff.
Yep. One thing we're probably going to do, and we're not going to do this until we get some more functional stuff in for this update. We are going to try and do small public testing rather than QA testing. Anything big and major we need to test, we will give to QA testers first, obviously. But we don't have anything big and major on the docket right yet. So whenever that happens, that will be going to QA testers first. But I do think that we're probably going to go ahead and try and do some public QA testing. That way we can get some more accurate or like more like people can have more access to things. It also helps generate activity at the same time because people are able to test things live. Although we do have to stress and reiterate that if we are going to be doing public testing, that means that the public test demos that we release are going to be a work in progress. They're not going to be super functional. They're going to break stuff. We're going to try
designed to build games with,
yeah,
essentially.
they're not going to be game ready. So I hope people don't look at that and go like, "Oh, you're releasing demos early to the public. Oh, great. This stuff is 100% functional." It's not. It's not going to be. Don't expect it to be. Stop it. You know what I mean? So
Stop it already.
I can already in the future hear, "Why are you releasing this? It's not ready." I can already hear it, and I don't want to hear it. So just stop before you even say it. The whole point of this is that they're like
try and frame as best as we can as
this is testing, not release. This is testing, not release. But at the same time, it can still help generate interaction between people and stuff like that, you know. It also helps us get a wider range of bug testers. That way we do get a wider and larger pool of people bringing issues to us that we can fix. So smaller, minute issues are more likely to be found. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But yeah, that is something we are planning on doing. It won't be for a little bit yet. I'm thinking probably sometime next month, like late next month, if it does end up happening sometime soon. Depending on how things go, if we can get some of the new stage objects in relatively quickly, then we'll probably do something like that. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else really to go over. I think we're probably good for this dev stream. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna get some food here soon.
This wasn't needing to be like a super big dev stream. Just an update things to let you know again.
All right, have a good night.
We're starting work again.
I'm gonna need some food. I am going to I'm gonna stream again later on today, although it probably won't be super long. I'm feeling kind of tired. I don't know if that's the vaccine or if that's just me being lazy or just tired in general, you know.
It might be a combination.
Could be both. I did get some pretty good sleep last night, but I still kind of woke up groggy, so. We will be back again, and we're wanting to continue doing the bi-weekly streams again. We're going to be back on the 9th. Again, this video or this stream is going to be uploaded and logged on the 2nd of next month. So we hope to see everybody then, I suppose. I'm going to bring Fizz back. Fizz is going to say goodbye.
Oh, I'm going to have Fizz back. Because you'll only forget to put it on when you start streaming later.
Yep, I will forget if I don't. And then Fizz is going to be gone, and then I'm going to be sad.
No more Fizz. Fizz got Thanos snapped.
Yep. So, until then, we'll see everybody next time. Yep, see you later, Fabio.
Thank you to everybody who joined, and again, we hope to see you next time. We'll see you then.
Hopefully with actual stuff to show off.
Yeah, there'll be a little, like I said, next stream might not be as big as we hope, but the stream after that, I think we would definitely be getting into proper update territory.
Yep. So until then, we'll see everyone next time.
Bye.